Let's see. Are you recording, Seth, or am I
Yeah.
off base here? Okay. Uh, well, what we were talking about doing is looking at and thinking about because last week it was fun. It was fun going back down memory lane and looking at years that we loved, our personal favorite years, and then Matt, my our cousin Matt, was like, uh, he said, "Man, it would be easier." I asked him the same question because we were just chatting, and he's like, "Man, it'd be easier for me to pick. I think it'd be easier for me to pick a worse gear in gaming than my favorite." I'm like, "That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that." I'm like, what is a bad year in gaming for us individually? Like same thing. It's the same question, just opposite direction. I thought that would be interesting.
2014.
That's your
What
pick.
happened there?
Maybe. I mean, just offhand, it's the
That's
year
one of
that
my.
I.
That's one of my maybes. That's
Yeah.
definitely one of my. That's a strong maybe. I'm actually
It was the
like
first year in a while that I didn't buy a COD.
what did I say? 14, 17, and 21 are my
Mm-hmm.
three picks, but I need to pick one. So let's look at 14 first, and we'll as we go here. So obviously, Advanced Warfare was not good, not very good, right? Diablo 3 was
Was
all
good.
right, but nothing, no game changer for me personally. I like Wolfenstein a
Blasphemy.
lot, but it was not like Game of the Year material or anything. Dark Souls 2 was kind of a lull for the series, to be honest. It wasn't the same developer. It was kind of the black sheep of the series. Destiny was a disappointment. It took Destiny 2 for it to get better. Watch Dogs is a disappointment. I'm noticing a lot of disappointments.
Right.
I think I'm getting.
Plants
It's
vs
going to take some
Zombies Garden
convincing.
Warfare was fun for about 15 seconds.
Yeah. Far Cry 4 was good, but once again, nothing earth shattering, but good. I liked Far Cry 4.
And that.
Middle Earth lost me midway through. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is just a demo. This is just a demo. Now, this was a great game. This is the only game where I'm like, oh yeah, that's an awesome game. But that's just one game. So Titanfall was a extended beta. As cool as it was still just a beta plus the first
It was
one.
it was an overpriced beta.
Yes, Evil
Mm-hmm.
Within's a cool game, but still not game of the year material. Nothing, Smash Brothers for I have 3DS. I don't care, whatever. Uh, man, Last of Us
Yes, yeah.
remastered. I don't even count that because that's just a remastered. I do not count that. Um, Master Chief Collection, cool, but it was rough at first, so that wasn't even a success. It took years for it to kind of come around and get where it meant to in the first place.
Talk
Yeah, it
about
So
was
talk about one
missing
of
games too.
mm-hmm, one of my disappointments, biggest disappointments, was Borderlands the pre-sequel. It sucked.
Oh yeah, yeah, that had issue. And
Yeah.
even when they re-released it on Xbox One, it was in a terrible state till they patched it, and it took them a while to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And let alone the 360 version, which I never played. I bought it, never played it, and sold it, and
I,
got the re-release of
I
it.
I rented the 360 and hated it.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
this is a this is a lackluster year, like hard. So 2014 is for me is a absolutely. I'm close to just calling it right. That's a
You
bad.
know,
That's not a very good year.
I would have been on board with you, but it's borderline blasphemy to say Diablo 3 wasn't good. That kind of
No,
hurts my
no, it was
feelings.
good, but it
The
was
other
not
one
earth
that hurts
shattering.
me, the other one that hurts me is well, the only thing that killed me about Diablo 3 is they shut down the stores where you couldn't sell stuff. So I
Right.
Mhm.
just that shut down my store. The other thing that I actually liked about 14, because I agree, a lot of this is trash. I actually liked Assassin's Creed. Um,
Oh,
There's an
Not this
Assassin's
year.
Creed.
Yeah, there was
wait.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
Was it? Oh,
Oh, there it
okay.
is.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've heard people
I actually
talk
Yeah.
about
liked
Unity.
that. That was one of my. That's the only game in that list in 2014 that I felt was good. The rest of them were
See
mediocre to
the
bad.
way you feel about Diablo 3 is how I felt about Infamous Son here on PS4, which is a this is a great game, but that's just one game.
Yeah, that's fair.
So there's always going to be something, but it's obviously it's looking at it as a whole.
It's a pretty bad year.
It's pretty. Sniper Elite 3 was just all right, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the 2014 is pretty freaking weak. So that's a good contender right there. We all agree on that one. That's a rough year.
I
So
agree. It was a pretty rough
that's
year. I
so
don't know if that's
mine.
the year I'll go with.
Yeah, that's. I'm. So let's look at now because I was looking at year after year. So and I was trying to like, be like, okay, absolutely not on certain years because like there's like at least two or three strong titles that are clearly like excellent games. Like, no, I don't want to call those years. But if it's a year where you have a hard time even thinking of what's my game of the year and you don't even know, that's a good indicator that was not a very good year. So 2017 is another year I was thinking about.
2017. What happened that year?
Let's see. So 2017. Now, all right. So for me, right off the bat, my game of the year for this year, even though here's the thing though, I didn't play it this year. So I'm counting it as this for me it's after the fact. But if I would have played it at the time, it would be Resident Evil 7, hands down. Uh but that's once again, it's just one game. Now Horizon Zero Dawn, very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely solid. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, good. Breath of the Wild is huge for a lot of people. It didn't blow my socks off like everybody else, but it's definitely but it's definitely an important game. But really though, some people consider Odyssey. That's fine. It's Mario. Mario Kart 8. That's a re-release, so whatever.
Destiny 2. We went hard into that game.
Yeah, some people, they would consider this their favorite year because of this game. Not me. I like Destiny
I don't
2,
call it
but
a favorite year. I was just entertained by it when we went hard
right,
into it
right.
before
We did. I
they
enjoyed
turned
it.
all our good stuff into garbage.
See, I'm
Mhm.
already feeling better about this year than 2014. Me personally, it's not, but it's
Oh, and
not amazing though.
this was the World War II release year too.
Yes, and I did enjoy that. I actually enjoyed World War II.
That was a decent COD.
Battlefront 2, its first year was rough. Okay, so Battlefront 2 I don't even count
Was
because it
wasn't
took a while.
wasn't that like just
I still played it.
super heavy pay to win?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, yeah, it was
It
it
was
got a
loot
lot of
box pay to
backlash.
win.
Yes, it was rough. I mean, it's a great
But
game, but it took a long
story
time
mode
for it
was
to get that way.
excellent.
Yes.
Story mode was excellent from the get go.
So this year's rough, but I think 2014 is much worse. So I can't put this over 2014. This is just kind of a rough year, but it's not terrible, but it's rough, right?
Oh,
If you
Sniper Elite 4. Oh my god, I spent so much time on that game.
yeah, that was a much better than Sniper 3. So, um this is just a lukewarm year, mediocre but not terrible. 2014 is pretty rough, man. Looking back on it, that's
14
bad.
looks pretty disgusting.
The next one I was looking at, actually, I'm not gonna. I'll leave this up. The next one I was thinking about.
Oh, sorry, I had to
21?
stand up.
Oh yeah.
21.
So 2021. Actually, it helps if I put video game. Well, I brought up the list last time. I brought it. All right. Wait, 20. What? Why are you doing this, Google? Why are you doing this? 2021 video game releases.
Didn't like it.
Um,
Still didn't like it.
like literally, I'm doing it the same way I've been. Video game releases, 2021 video game releases. Well, I pulled up on my phone earlier. It came up just fine.
That's
Just a way to have it laid out in a way that's all right. Fine, I'll go the IMDb route then. IMDb. Wow, Google, you've lost your marbles. Hold on, I have to get this out of my way.
I stole them.
Stole all the marbles.
God, this is literally blocking my screen here. Okay. All right.
Still won't do it.
Yeah, it's just being stupid. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna do it this way. Oh, okay, yeah. this was also a rough year. Now Guardians. See, it's funny though. These based on popularity, this list is already accurate. I loved Resident Evil Village, but that was a I can't think of anything better that I played, so I guess I'll go with that kind of game. And I already know based on multiple people told me that Guardians of the Galaxy is a great game, great campaign. So these are two very
Yeah, I'm one
solid
of them.
games. Yeah, you and my brother both loved it, so that I know that's a great game, no doubt. But these are both great games, but are the game of the year material? Only because there's not much else that came out that year that's amazing. Like Far Cry 6 is all right. Halo Infinite was fine. I liked it. It's better than 5, but that's not saying much. This is I'm not going to count this. That's just Mass Effect re-released. Rift Apart is fine as PS5 game, but I don't think Vanguard is Vanguard.
Vanguard with a 6.1 star rating.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Don't. I'm not a freaking nerd, so I'm not going to consider any Forza to be any contender for anything, even though I like Forza. But you know what I mean. Just a racing game.
It's good. It's a good time killer.
Yeah, sure, yeah, it's a cool game.
Hey!
It's definitely cool.
There's
Battlefield.
Battlefield
2042.
with
Boy.
the 2.9
Battle Disappointment
stars.
2042.
Ouch.
Returnal's cool, but not earth-shattering. Just really cool. I like Returnal a lot, but this is actually more. This right here, this demo was actually more relevant than some of the actual full release games, just because of how the technical, the revolutionary technical real-time experience of it on consoles, right? But that's not a game; it's just a demo. This was rough, and that's still a re-release. So I don't count that anyway.
What about Poppy Playtime?
What?
No thanks.
Poppy Playtime. You didn't see it?
Oh, I guess
I've watched people
oh,
play it.
God, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is.
What?
Poppy
Poppy
Playtime?
Playtime?
I don't know what that is.
It's a survival horror.
Oh. So people consider this to be a great game. I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it. I have it now, but I'm sure it's good, but I'm not, whatever. This is not the original release of Death Stranding. That was 2019. And Days Gone. See, 2019 was actually 2019 and 2020 are actually excellent years when I look back on them for me personally. I mean, 2020 is a little rough if you're not a Final Fantasy fan, but 2019 and 2018 are
2020
really
is the
good.
same year as Cyberpunk came out, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I was pretty bummed out that entire year because the one game I was waiting for
Yeah, and
turned out to be a turd.
for me, I'm more than a little biased. I'm biased because Final Fantasy VII Remake came out in 2020, and I adore that game, and that was huge for me. So that carries that year a lot for me, but that's an exception. So even though I would say 2019 was even better. 2019 was a stronger year than 2020 because of Days Gone, Death Stranding, and a lot of other. And 2018 was Red Dead Redemption 2. So 2018 and 19 are really strong. So I didn't even consider those.
Well, those
me
2
personally.
years are good for me.
Yeah. This year ain't looking that great.
Oh, this year?
Or 2021 right here that we're looking at right now. It's not looking great. I like it. I like Fireteam Elite. That's a fun game. But Game of the Year to contender? Nope. It's just a cool game. As far as AAA blow your socks off games, 2021 is kind of rough. I like this, but that's an extension of Final Fantasy remakes. I don't count that. I really don't. I know some people would probably consider me blasphemous for breezing by this, but I don't care enough about Shin Megami to be like, oh my god. But some people are like, oh my god, it's the greatest series ever. I'm like, whatever, fine. I'm sure it's fine.
I've never figured out those series. I've played
I appreciate them, but yeah,
I'm just like, okay, they're always been kind of just mediocre to me.
Yeah, it's JRPG. If you're like a huge fan of that, whatever, that's fine. But I just, even though it's funny, you would think I was gonna have most of them.
You have most of everything, Steven. You can only be a fan of a couple things. Otherwise, it gets all washed out.
Well, exactly.
We're here to support you.
2021 is rough, man. I don't know, man. What do you think? So I wish I could. So,
I think
But going
2014 had more games in it that I was actually interested in. That turned out to be meh, or that I just didn't
honestly,
buy.
for me, it's an easy toss up between 14 and 21 are both freaking rough, man. They're both rough. Like I almost equally rough. It's really preference which one's worse.
20
Either one is not a bad answer, to be honest.
Last year though, we were still in the middle of Warzone and everything, so I had plenty to entertain myself with at least.
That was another thing. 2019 was Modern Warfare. 2019 is a solid year, man. I like 2019.
2019 is when I should have started streaming.
Yeah. So 2017 I'm going to take out because it's rough, but it's not terrible. I don't look at it with disgust. So with 2014 2021, it's like, boy. Now if y'all obviously we can look at other year. I was going through them personally and trying to knock out try to. Now here was my standard though. We can go, but we'll go before that. I considered anything before 2005 to not be worth looking at, but we certainly can. I was just kind of going over. I was like, because for me, anything behind 2005, I think is all like great stuff. Like all throughout those years, early 2000s through the 90s, I just love all the way through. Me personally,
When developers actually cared about the games they were putting out.
exactly. Now here's the thing though, but I also and we can certainly look. We'll certainly look at this because I think we kind of hit the nail on the head. 2014 and 2021 are clearly bad compared to everything
Yeah.
else. Clearly, they're bad. It's easy to see that now. It's not even just personal or it's objectively bad. These out of the modern era, all throughout the modern era of gaming, the last 20 years, almost 30 years of gaming. In fact, it's like clearly they stand out as being rough, but historically bad though. I thought it wasn't worth looking at, but I think we easily can now. It'll be interesting.
Historically bad.
When the Atari died in the 80s in general because it was the it was still infancy, early days of gaming.
Well, that's because they pushed the consoles in the early '80s or late '70s, whatever, and then everybody thought they were just gimmicks, and they just started dying off.
Yeah, yeah. They thought, well, that was a fad that's over.
Exactly.
So
A lot of game developers actually concentrated more on game cabinets than actual consoles and stuff. Oddly enough, the '80s cranked out a lot of cabinet games.
This is actually very true, right? This is exactly it. In '86, Nintendo President Hiroshi Yamauchi, if I'm saying that right, noted that
No idea.
Atari collapsed because they gave too much freedom to third-party developers, and the market was swamped with rubbish games, basically shovelware, and that's 100% true. It's literally what happened.
True.
And Nintendo did everything they could to not do that, and that's why they succeeded so well.
I used to buy games
Um,
based on the cover art, not based on anything else.
Right, right, and that's what people did, and boy, they just never lived up to them, obviously. Um, but the period, yeah, video game crash in 83, of 83. Uh, Clearly, 83 through 85 until the Nintendo launched was the worst era of gaming ever. I would argue. I mean, just because literally the Atari crashed, Nintendo wasn't around yet. There was nothing. There was what was left from the late 70s up to that point, and it was just kind of like everybody's just kind of like, I don't know. I guess that was a thing, and it's not a thing anymore. We don't know yet. And then Nintendo came around and completely revived the entire industry. They thought it was dead, but then Nintendo shed new light and hope on. Oh wow, there's a new exciting thing. Maybe this isn't a fad anymore. Maybe it is
Well,
going to stick around.
Even when Nintendo came around, they couldn't even market it as a game console. No, they had to market it as a toy. It was
Right.
a toy, not a game console, a toy.
Right.
Right.
So objectively, historically, 83 to 85 is the worst era of gaming in the history of gaming. That was at its lowest point, other than like obviously the very very beginning. But whatever, that's anything. That's not hard to assess. So during as far as gaming being an industry, that was obviously the lowest point. So I'm actually curious. So if I wonder what happens if I look up 83, 84, like 83 and 84, even 85 releases. I wonder what that'll bring up. Curious. Do this. let's see. By the way, I watched Samaritan on
sweet.
Netflix. I mean, Amazon. Really liked
Mhm.
it. It was really cool.
Wasn't it?
I liked it. I liked certain plot twists that made it, that elevated the movie for me. It was really cool.
If it
I,
wasn't for,
I
if
like
it,
the plot twist, but I saw it coming.
So did my
right,
brother. So did Nathan. He
It-
saw it the first frame of the movie. He's like, "All right, just remind me to tell you what I know what's gonna happen." I was like, "What?" I'm glad I didn't. It benefited me. Let's see, 1983.
it kind of took a very straight down the line take on everything that I kind of was expecting. I was expecting a bigger twist or a bigger something. It was still a really good movie. I liked it.
I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was kind of like a bigger, more over the top, Unbreakable. Like it was kind of doing the Unbreakable thing a little bit, but at
Yeah.
the same time, but definitely bigger and more of the over the top abilities. But a little bit of the vibe.
It was
though.
a little more superhero oriented too.
Yes. Now, Unbreakable is a better film. I love Unbreakable. Absolutely love Unbreakable.
Great film.
A great movie. That's one of Shyamalan's best right there. I love that movie. And I like the rest of them that completed it, thank God. That was so cool how they completed the trilogy like that. We need to go on some movies here soon too. We might even tonight.
That's all going to be spoilers for me, and I'm fine with that.
You know what? How about that? Because I'm seeing. I forgot. Mario was 80. What was I watching the Nintendo? Am I crazy?
Wait, what? What year Nintendo came out? I have no idea.
I thought it was 85. In Japan it was. After 85,
Oh, at the Famicom.
North America. Okay, so on the Famicom, Super Mario was Famicom, so that's what threw me off. Wait. It was an arcade game.
It was an
Design.
arcade game?
I knew it was, but I forgot that it came out as early as 83. Before it was on before it was on the NES at home, it was an arcade game. I forgot it was that much sooner. Okay. You learn something new every day. Cool. So I'm gonna ignore that because that's an arcade game. We're not talking about arcade. That's a whole other subject, to be honest.
Star Wars. What did that release on though? Was that a arcade game? Was that on a console?
3D color vector. Yeah. Yep. Arcades. That's arcade again. See, these are all arcades. See, arcades on the other hand.
That's what I was. Well,
We're
that's
still-
the thing. The 80s were really big on cabinet arcades. Like
Yes. Like
like
pole
the
position.
arcade, where you hung out and played, cabinet games all day. Was that the 80s brought that about?
Or you know what? I'm gonna put. You know what? I'm not. You know what? Let's see. That's a whole. Honestly, that's a whole deep dive in and of itself. To be honest, because I'm less familiar with the '80s since I didn't live all of that time. I have to go back and research and remind myself. Other than the games I already have in my collection, or the ones I happen to play, like Punch Out and
games. All I know is I've watched a lot of 80s films. The number of 80s films that features an arcade with a bunch of punk kids and some arcade playing some cabinet game is tons of them.
Yes.
How about
It's
this?
huge.
How about this? And that's true. How about this?
Throw a random year up and go like 2008.
Oh, you mean just to look at?
Yeah.
We could do that. You want to do that, or you want to talk about favorite years of films?
Doesn't matter.
I could do either way.
You just started looking
Now
through,
I
looking
have
through
to
random
see
years.
2008. I have to
Okay.
see
now I wanna
2008
know.
now because freaking Seth brought it up.
What
do
happened
that.
in 2008?
I don't know.
All right, 2008 video game releases.
And then where were we in our lives in 2008? There you go.
So all right, Fallout 3 right off the bat. That's strong.
That's a big one.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is really cool. Grand Theft
Ooh,
Auto
that
4
was one of my favorites.
was good.
Dead Space, Gears 2.
Gears
Jesus.
2, that's big.
Ooh.
See, this I went right over this.
Devil May
shit from,
Cry
like,
4 was fun.
Yeah, Devil May Cry 4 is great. Valkyrie Chronicles is actually really cool.
World at War.
Yep, World at War was I enjoyed the campaign. I barely touched the multiplayer, but I did enjoy the
There are
campaign,
a
and
lot
that
of.
was the introduction of zombies. And the zombies, I love the atmosphere of
Mm-hmm.
the zombies. I
Mm-hmm.
actually like
Force
zombies.
Unleashed.
Yeah, Force Unleashed is cool. Fable 2 is
Yeah.
considered the favorite of Fable, if I remember correctly.
Not in my book.
At least I haven't played them, so I don't know. But I think people have.
OG Fable. I couldn't stand the two
This game
sequels.
was. Left 4 Dead. That's a cool
Yeah, that
game.
blew up.
Condemned 2 was okay. Hulk was okay. Silent Hill Homecoming was a
Oh,
down
Army of
point for the
Two. I
series.
played the crap out of that game.
Yeah,
Oh,
it has a cult following.
my roommate played that with one of his friends a lot.
Turok was not great. Um,
I
this
actually
isn't
played
like
that.
Resistance 2. That's a big one for me. I love Resistance 2. Great game. Burnout Paradise is good.
2 was alright. 3 was my fave.
Yeah, then that's how Matt feels the same way. He loves 3. He liked 2, but he loves 3 and he loves the first one. I like all 3, but 2, I kind of gravitated to 2 the most out of the 3. That one really grabbed me. I love 2.
3 had the deepest story.
Yeah, 3 was the most like graphically, cinematically. 3 was excellent. I love 3.
Definitely a
gorgeous game.
far superior year to 2014.
Oh yeah, 2008's a good year. That's a good year. Like Fallout 3 is huge. Like that's a big one. Gears 2, Fallout 3, Metal Gear
There's a
Solid
lot of stuff
4.
here.
That was the last truly relevant Metal Gear Solid, to be honest. Like because to me,
The
I don't
last true relevant that ended up on a console. The side game Peace Walker was also really good. That came after that.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sure. I don't doubt that.
Far
terms
Cry
of,
2 was a pile of shit. So
yeah, that game's a little rough.
I hate that game with a passion.
No, 2008's a pretty good year. That's pretty solid. Not incredible, but good, right?
Let's try to find an
Grand Theft Auto.
incredible year, just to balance it.
All right, you know what? Let's just.
Go back in time again.
Oh, okay. So already we got Super Mario World, of course. Final Fantasy.
F-Zero.
Yep, F-Zero. Final Fantasy 3, which is Final Fantasy 6. Oh, wait. No. They have it listed correctly. That's okay. Never mind. I think this is only in Japan at the time.
There's Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake.
Yeah, that's okay. I think this is NES. Yeah, 5 and 6 were in Super Nintendo. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of weird back and forth history of Final Fantasy releases in Japan, America, the numbering and everything. It's a lot of. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 in NES.
No.
Yeah. ActRaiser is a cool game, but nothing earth-shattering necessarily, but cool. Ninja Gaiden 2. Luke likes that.
Smash TV.
Smash
that.
TV is a fun game. It's a cool game. So I've had some people go on about this game. It's freaking Michael Jackson Moonwalker. It's worth a lot of money. There's another Snake's Revenge. It's another Metal Gear.
Does
game.
it teach me how to do it?
No.
Moonwalker? No, you're going around saving kids.
The original John Madden football.
Dirty.
Zing!
Dang it.
Too soon?
Oh goodness. At his ranch. So
we're going to Hades. We're all going to Hades.
I used to rent this. I have this Dino Wars. That it's not a very great game, but it's nostalgic for me. 90 is okay. 90, the biggest one, honestly, the biggest two that really stand the test of time are Mario and F-Zero. To be perfectly
And
honest.
Ninja Gaiden.
So good.
And Ninja Gaiden, yeah. 90's okay. 90's okay. So that's not, you know.
How about 2000?
Super Mario World was good.
2000. Now we did look at 2000. That was Luke's
Did we?
favorite. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Solid,
Never.
great year, fantastic year. Definitely. Link to the Past. Oh goodness, that's huge. That's already a Street Fighter 2. That's massive. So this is all right. This is a good year. Castlevania 4 is a classic. Street Fighter 2 is monumental. Link to the Past is incredible. Yeah, Mega Man 4 is fine. 2 is considered like probably one of the pinnacles of the original Mega Man games. Tecmo Super Bowls, a lot of fun. Believe it or not, Little Mermaid's actually a solid NES game. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, that's the arcade cabinet. The original Streets of Rage. I actually have this Spider-Man. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 on NES. That's a good one. Ninja Gaiden 3 is very good. That's a solid year. I mean, especially because of these right here, man. These
the
three,
top 4 or
those are,
5.
yeah, these are. It's Sonic, the original Sonic. That's a
Lemmings.
huge year.
I used to play Lemmings.
Well, Lemmings.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's iconic. I never played it. I've just seen it around my whole life.
I know that I played it, and I can't. I can't.
I've always heard people talk about it. I've never actually played it.
Oh, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Well, that's not huge, but it's
It was
noteworthy.
started off with
God,
just a
these-
few, and you had to guide the lemmings through a course with different things, and they got more and more and more and faster and faster and faster until they all just ran off a cliff.
These
Wow.
were so weird.
It
The Home
was
Alone 2.
challenging.
Oh,
I had that game.
the Home Alone.
Home Alone. I had that game.
Home Alone 2 was so weird. You have vacuum cleaners coming out after you. It's weird.
And
More like
the
a haunted game.
and the spiders and everything else.
Ugh. Yeah, it was a weird game. Oh, 92. Mario Kart. Oh, my goodness.
Had that one. Loved it.
Final Fantasy V. So Streets of Rage 2 is a classic. Wolfenstein 3D, huge. Considering the history of FPSs like we talked about recently. The 92 is huge for FPS genre. Mortal Kombat, massive. This is a great game. Hyperstone Heist, that's a great game. Batman Returns, Super Nintendo ones. This is the Mega Drive one. I don't know about that, but the Super Nintendo's great. There's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Mario's Missing. This, you know what? There's a series of educational. There's an educational developer that Nintendo allowed to make 3 games with using their Mario property, and then they regretted that and they didn't do that anymore because they were not very good games. They were literally education-based games from Software Toolworks.
Huh.
This game's nostalgic to me, but if you actually play it, it's not even a game. It's just literally walking around and historical trivia. That's it. That's the game.
Huh.
It's strange, but it's nostalgic for me because my sister and I played it growing up. But Contra 3, hey Luke, there you go. That's a great game. Man, 92 is. See, that's why I couldn't do the 90s, man. It's hard to pick on the 90s because there's some great stuff. Contra 3. Mario Paint, I played the hell out of that as a kid.
Had that too.
Oh man, there's so much fun on that.
I actually have a hard time picking on like the 360 age. Like every year
Yeah,
it wasn't
same.
terrible.
Yeah, no, that's why. Notice I started with 2005, and really, it was only all the way up to 14 before I had a problem, me personally. So I was like, huh.
What happened in 2010? Or are we just going year by year by year?
Oh, I guess I was like, I don't know how to go about it. Brandon. Doom. So Star Fox, Doom, Myst, Mortal Kombat 2. Oh my God, this year.
So what was
Mega Man
Myst?
X.
Was Myst based on the books? I've only read the first one.
No. Wait. Myst? Okay,
Yeah.
it was just an adventure point and click
By the
game.
Miller brothers, Robin and Rand. So unless they have anything to do with it, I don't know. I just know the game.
Yeah, I played it way back in the day.
But it's spelled with the MYST. If that makes a difference. I don't know. I don't know about the books. But
Rand Miller.
Oh, okay.
oh wait.
Yep.
Oh, the Miller bro. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, Rand. Oh, so it was book. It was based off a
Mhm.
book then. Okay.
So I only read the first one because at the time, I wasn't looking for that kind of fantasy, whatever it is. Puzzle adventure game would work really well with that book, 100%.
It's super atmospheric, graphically awesome at the time. It was PC only at first till it came out on PlayStation and like I think Saturn and stuff. But very cool, very interesting game, especially on PC back in the day.
I would actually recommend sitting down and reading those. I might actually have to find them on Audible and try them again.
Mhm.
At least the first one and see what happens. There's a couple of them.
This year though, man, Mega Man X and OG Doom, Star Fox, Mario All Stars, Mortal Kombat 2, the original the Kirby's Adventures, original Samurai Showdown, uh, 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 oh, Link's Awakening on Game Boy. That's Disney's Aladdin. Oh, this year, banger after banger after banger. Rondo of Blood. Oh man, this year is packed. This is a packed year right here for sure. Yeah, man, it was exciting to be a kid. Man, I love it.
Here's a question: do we love all these games because they were the games of our childhood, or do we love all these games because they'll actually more or less stand the test of time?
Both. Definitely both. There's like, all right.
Are you answering because they are games of your childhood, or are you answering factually?
Well, all right. Like Doom stands the test of time. I mean, literally playing it. You can literally play it on Xbox One right now, and it's still fantastic to play. So Doom, yes. Star Fox,
and my graphing calculator.
All right, so I would say for most people, maybe not with Star Fox. Me personally, it's still my favorite one, but that's just me. Mortal Kombat 2, Test of Time. Mario All Stars, Test of Time.
What was Mario All Stars? Click on that one. I can't remember what that was about.
This had 1 through 3 in one cart, remastered on Super Nintendo.
I can't remember if I had that or if one of my friends had that, and I always loved it.
Now, I've been skipping over remasters, but this is an exception because this is an iconic compilation on a console.
How many copies do you own, Steven?
4.
2. So anyway. 2.
One that's in excellent condition, one that he'll play.
Oh, gotcha. One T-shirt edition, one untouchable.
Mega Man X is one of my favorite games of all time. This game is incredible. I love this game. Absolutely stands the test of time. I play it to this day. Disney's Aladdin, great platformer, stands the test of time. Virtual Fighter. Oh, on the 32. Oh my goodness. Or is it the arcade? Even the arcade. I'll take this exception. This game was huge. This game was mind-blowing and revolutionary at the time as a 3D fighter.
They're all pixelated, though. I mean, pixelated.
Well, technically, it's blocky.
It was 1993.
No, man, that blew my mind when I saw that as a kid, man. I couldn't believe it. So cool.
What years did you think video games peaked as far as, like, graphics go? Like, that you thought in your head, it can't get better than this until
Oh, you mean just subjectively at the time?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh my god. Ooh, man, that's tough. Because I usually don't do that. I usually never think, oh, it can't get better than this. I definitely have moments where I'm like, oh, wow, I am blown away right now. And I'm like, even just recently, playing The Last of Us 1 Remake and sitting there being like, wow, this looks better than the full motion video cutscenes that I grew up with thinking, wow, I wonder when this will become real time.
Right.
Later, when it does. I wonder how long before this becomes playable, looking like this. And I'm sitting there playing that in native 4K 30 FPS mode, like the fidelity mode, just for it to look pretty for a minute. And I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm playing a fully CGI movie, but I'm playing it, right? Or right. that Matrix demo that I mentioned, that Matrix Unreal 5 demo, insane what that did. And visual on just the scale of it and the detail and the ray trace and the global illumination and ray tracing. It's so. To be honest, 2021 through 22, I mean, yeah, it's been pretty crazy, for some of that stuff. But, man, I don't know. That's a hard question for me because there's definitely moments. So I can think of individual game as I look at them, like Star Fox was crazy as a kid, right? When I first played that, when this first came out, I played it for the first time. That was, as a kid, that was mind blowing, right?
So for me, when I was thinking, how can they do better than this? This is ridiculous. I think it was the first time or two that I played Modern Warfare. Not 2019, the first one.
Oh, COD 4.
COD 4.
Yes, no, COD 4 was like, whoa, at the time. It was like, that was like photorealism.
I had played COD 3, and it still is like 100% this is a video game. Like, still had that aspect to it. Loading up COD 4, though, was like, whoa, dude.
94. See, 94. Oh, Doom. Okay, Matt reminded me that Doom 2 was the immediate next year from Doom 1. Uh, 94 is so good. Super Metroid. Excuse me. Doom 2. Earthbound has a massive following. I'll acknowledge that. I haven't played it, but I don't doubt it. Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 6. That's huge. Sonic 3. Killer Instinct. Oh my god, this year's massive. Holy shit. I can't. These years are hard to pick from for me. Honestly, 90. I picked 97. It just because there's so many good years in the 90s. I picked 97 because it has Final Fantasy 7. That was the tip. That's what tipped the scale for me. Because there's banger after banger year throughout the 90s for me. When I look back on them, there's so many good games. Yeah, this is stellar. 94. These games that are just, I look at them and I still look at them. I still think about them. I still play them. I still talk about them. You know, they're just as relevant today.
We played the ever-loving heck out of Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, it's so good, dude. See, this had the same type of graphics technique and engine as Killer Instinct. The digitized engine that they use, the Donkey Kong Country is based off because they're both from Rare. Same developer.
That almost 3D type of thing, but you're still in a 2D.
Yeah. The way they weren't just like they were 2D sprites and it was all technically 2D imagery, but they were with they were computer generated models digitized rather than pixelated sprites like you would see even the likes of so they were completely 3D models that were digitized and put into, and then they had their individual frames of movement versus being fully animated, So the way they did that, and they were able to do it on the Super Nintendo and translate it to Super Nintendo Killer Instinct arcades, translated to Super Nintendo, and then they took that technique into the Donkey Kong Country games with it, which are all great games. Fantastic platformers. Yeah, 94, man. Oof. Good year. That's a good year. 95. 95 is, oh yeah. Time Crisis on PlayStation, stellar. Phantasmagoria is a very weird cult game. Tekken 2, that was when Tekken really stepped it up in terms of being a relevant fighter. The first one was like a stepping stone, but set 2 is where it's like, whoa. Mortal Kombat 3 is iconic. Dark Forces is cool. Yoshi's Island is considered many people's favorite Mario. Like, it's a very good game.
I loved Yoshi's Island.
Chrono Trigger is massive. Massive. For many people. I love Chrono Trigger. Some people consider Diddy Kong's Quest to be the best one. I don't disagree. It's a great game.
I like that one too.
Final Fight 3, cool. Suikoden, that's a good RPG.
Sorry for continuously blowing my nose.
No, you're good. Twisted Metal. That was. I remember playing that on a demo disc at a Target when I was a kid. That's very cool.
Twisted Metal 3, Steven, is where we lost like half our life.
Dude, I love that game. That's my favorite to this day. That's my favorite one. Oh, Rebel Assault.
What can we get that on anymore?
Still just PlayStation. I have to take my disc and put it in my PS3 to play it. Rebel Assault 2, Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. This game. Now, you know what? To kind of partially answer your question about it doesn't get any better than this game right here when I was a kid. This game blew my mind as a child on PC. The first time I played it was at my friend's cousin's house on their computer. It is a CGI based shooter.
Huh.
Rebel Assault 2. And let me.
Is that Yoda's face? Or no, that's Darth Vader's face in flames.
Yes.
On the cover art.
Yes.
That's nuts.
The Hidden Empire. The game. It's all real. It's all real actors. Like it's all real actors throughout the game in a digitized world, in a digitized environments and cutscenes. The acting is very cringy and rough nowadays compared to nowadays. But it's actually funny now. So, like, here's an example of when you're on foot It looked like this, and
Oh, that's
it
cool.
was all digitized. Like now these stormtroopers were fully CGI, but your guy was actually a digitized actor, and he had like like a Mortal Kombat frames of animation, but it was all real person captured. And you aimed your little mouse reticle around or joystick or whatever you had, and you shot the stormtroopers, and you could manipulate the environment. It was all pre-rendered,
That's cool.
animated and pre-rendered. And you felt like it was the closest thing to playing a cut. You were interacting with cutscenes at the time, and it felt like you were. It was just mind blowing as a kid when you're flying. And then this is what it looked like when you were in the ship. Like it had full motion video TIE fighters coming at you, and you shoot them, and then they replace them with explosions when you hit them. You aim your reticle around, you fire, and you have your ship here, and it really, at the time, or you have your little digitized Millennium Falcon here flying. It's a cutscene, pre-rendered cutscene, but you're flying through it. It's basically you're interacting with the video.
Huh.
But they did a really good job of making you feel like you're actually like doing it in real time, and it was so cool. I've on PC because I've played it on PC originally, and that's still the best way to play it, even though PlayStation version is actually decent. But PC though was just mind blowing. Like it just blew my mind as a kid. So this game was one that was like, oh my god, I'm in the future. Like blew my mind. So that's definitely one I would say in this year. Stop pulling that down. In 95. So 95 was probably a year where I had feelings like that at times. Sure. Like you're asking about.
How could it get any better than this?
Yeah, that I had with that game right there. I had those feelings, and that in the moment, right? They're fleeting feelings. Obviously, they're always fleeting, but I did have those at the time. I was like, "This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen."
See, I had those feelings when I saw Gears of War for the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing Unreal Engine 3 for the first time like that. 96, dude. Oh, this year's so good. Look at this. Mario 64, the first Tomb Raider, the first Quake, Duke Nukem 3D, Super Mario RPG. There you
yes.
go. The original Resident Evil, Crash Band. Oh my, Mario Kart 64, Twisted Metal 2, Parappa the Rapper, Mortal Kombat Trail, Diablo. Dude, this year's insane. This year's insane.
Super Mario RPG. I thought that was a Super Nintendo game.
It is.
Okay, so they released that probably a couple months before the Nintendo 64. I wonder why they didn't.
There were still Super Nintendo games coming out even when the 64 was obviously slowed way down, but there was still some titles that came out up until.
I was gonna say, I wonder why they didn't render it a little bit better and put it on the 64 as well.
It just at that point, they could have been like, we'll stop development on the Super Nintendo version and convert it to 64 and take about another 6 months to a year. But they were just like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and finish and release it. And plus, they already have the install base of the Super Nintendos across homes.
True.
At that point, they just made the call of let's just stick with what we started with, right? Now, we've seen that, though, where they switch mid-development. They're like, you know what? Like Resident Evil 0 did that, where it was a Nintendo 64 game, and then it got canceled or got put on hold, pause, and then they developed it into a GameCube game and released it much later. Things like that. That does happen. Oh man, 96 is so good. 96 is amazing. House of the Dead. Wave Race 60. Well, this is the launch of the 64. This is launch year for 64. So 96 was freaking cool. Freaking cool. Pilot Wing 64. All these launches. Nintendo 64 has that has one of the best. That's another thing we'll have to talk about. Launch lineups.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about that before, right?
We've touched on launch titles as like, oh, that was a launch title, or was that a launch title? But we haven't had an episode of launch titles and comparing them.
You know what? Next week, as a reminder,
launch titles. We'll go through
launch lineups of relevant consoles. Because there's some really, really cool stuff with launch time. When you look back on launch lineups and who had the better ones and stuff,
we could probably we might be able to turn that into 2 episodes if we go through Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and whatever else.
Oh no, yeah, there's a lot, right? Really cool because Nintendo 64 had an incredible launch lineup. Like Mario Kart 64 and Mario 64 are just stupid.
Nintendo's its own episode because of Game Boy and all that other stuff. If we want to go there too.
You know what? Mario 64. That's actually another game to answer your question, where I was like sitting there, my jaw wide open, like I can't believe I'm playing this. I can't believe how this looks. Like it doesn't get better than this. That kind of feeling.
Star Wars Pod Racer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
Star
first
Wars
64
Episode 1
game.
Racer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool game. I actually, dude, playing it right now on Xbox, really cool.
Is it on Xbox right now?
Yeah, it's a remaster of the original game.
Oh no.
Super fast. It doesn't have that low frame rate, so it's really fast. It's really cool. Plays great. It's like butter. Especially on your Series S, like it's just like butter on that thing. Oh yeah, I love dude. 96 is so good. That's such a good year. I love that. That brings joy to my heart to see 96.
I spent hours on Super Mario RPG. That was just one of the coolest things.
Before we finish, I'll just finish the 90s. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
We already looked at 97 because that's my personal favorite. Oh, 98. Oh, 98. You're so good. Holy crap. Dude, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 2, Ocarina of Time, Half-Life. Oh my God, this year. Look at that.
Stand by. He may have had an accident.
Grim Fandango, Parasite. Yeah, oh, dude. See, 98 was that was a huge contender for me. 97 just edges it out. This year, right? If it wasn't for if it was not for Final Fantasy 7, it would be 98. Xenogears, my second favorite my second favorite RPG of all time. Oh, this is Japan, so I'm gonna ignore that. That's 99 for North America, so I'm gonna ignore Dreamcast. This is actually a cool game. Apocalypse that has a Bruce Willis's likeness in it. It's a PlayStation 1 original game.
Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro, great game. Great game.
Dude, I had Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, I believe, on my PC.
Oh,
Or,
those were cool games.
Or Need for Speed 2? I think I had Need for Speed 2 and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. So fun.
Suikoden 2. This is literally like my mint copy of this game right here is literally like about a $400 game. Great game. I actually played it and beat it. Rogue Squadron, dude. Oh, so good.
There's where my life was spent.
Yep.
That was a 64 release too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Great game. F-Zero X, very cool. Turok 2 was mixed bag at the time, but it's actually aged really well with the remaster of it because it plays like they wanted it to originally, and it's really great. Tenchu, really tough but cool game.
Small Soldiers.
There it is, Luke. Twist Metal 3. Dude, 98, man. What a year. What a year. Holy crap. Shout out to Baldur's Gate. Like, yeah, dude. Oh, Crash Bandicoot Warped was excellent, too. I don't know if that's that is so 100% what is this? That's not Crash Bandicoot Warped. What is this cover? What is this thumbnail?
I think you clicked on the wrong thing there, bro.
No, look at the description. It still says Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, no.
Warped.
They put the wrong thumbnail. It's like Buzz. It's some game that doesn't exist anymore. It's a PAL game. This isn't even... That's funny. They just put the wrong game in the image there. God, 98, man. That's my second favorite year of all time, hands down. Easy. 99. Oh, man, 99 is a great year, too. So Dreamcast was Final Fantasy VIII, huge.
Donkey Kong 64.
Was that? Oh, see, I appreciate the game. People love it. I get it. To me, it couldn't touch the original one, so I'm kind of like, whatever.
I think that's more of a nostalgia thing for me than anything. Granted, I was a teenager, so I don't know how much I actually played that, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater, on the other hand.
Oh, that's a fun game. That's a fun. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, classic Resident Evil, Medal of Honor. This is the start of an era right here.
Mm-hmm. That tragically died, or Medal of Honor at least. Super Smash Brothers.
That is. Oh, that's. Wait, no, there it is. Yep. That's huge.
Now was that the
Silent Hill?
Huge. Is that the original Super Smash?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
On the 64. Unreal Tournament, very cool. Soul Reaver, cool game. It's funny. Final Fantasy VIII and Dreamcast launched the same day. I bought them both the same day together. At Toys R Us.
What's
Cyclone
that?
Filter,
Is that
cool.
like a toy store?
Actually, crazy thing. The one that was over in Tulsa here that I bought those from and went to as a kid. And anytime I went, it was like going to Magic Land.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I got to go as a kid. Obviously, since with what happened with Toys R Us and everything, they closed it down. And so I went inside of it right before they closed it, just to be like, wow, like I remember coming in here as a kid, and it was just like a mind blowing experience every time.
We
the
went
toys
to
were amazing.
we went to
inside.
KB Toys because it was closer to home.
Okay. I don't think I ever went to one.
KB didn't have the video games. I don't believe it was more just
Oh,
toys and
It
RCs.
was just toys. I had
Yeah.
one
Toys
here
R Us
too,
had-
in our mall.
I got my PlayStation there. I played Sega Saturn there for the first time on a display demo. Yeah, a lot of gaming nostalgia from Toys R Us at the time, as well as Target and Walmart. But Chrono Cross, absolutely. Yeah, Shenmue. Oh, it's Japan. Legend of Dragoon. That's a cool one. Dino Crisis. 99 is fantastic. Parasite 2, I love that game. Oh wait, was it? No, Dino Crisis 2. That's one of the Tekken Tag Tournament. That's wow. No, that's arcade. Galdelka. That's an expensive, rare game. Twisted Metal 4 was fun, but not as good as 3. You remember that, Luke? Did you ever play Twisted Metal 4?
I did, but it was a pretty big letdown off of 3.
It was. It really was. From the
So
same
I never
studio,
bought-
too.
I never bought 4. I rented 4.
Okay, yeah. Mario Golf, one of my favorite games of all time, and I still play it to this day. It's my favorite golf game. So I love that. Yeah, no, 99 is great. So that's the 90s. The 2000s, Luke's favorite year they were looked at before, with the Diablo 2 and Perfect Dark. A fantastic year. Amazing year. So 2000 is solid. So yeah.
Takes me right back to high school.
And that's why I couldn't pick anything out of the 90s as anything bad. Because for me, the whole solid decade of 90s is just amazing. I love the 90s. That was a renaissance for me.
It's also the era of us going over to our friends' houses and trying new games that they had that we didn't, and
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Got to do that
Spent
quite
a lot
a
of
bit.
times at a friend's house playing other games.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I spent a lot of time carrying a TV from my house to my friend's house so we could hook up video games.
That's how you got to be so
See-
strong.
I was the guy that you were bringing the TV to. That happened multiple times. But I never had to drag the TV to anyone, but they came to me more often than not.
I lived outside of town, so and I didn't have that many friends. So for me, it was like 2 friends and it was mostly just me at home. But then occasional, a couple friends. I would go to their house. And they had a few things they had a few games I did on Sega Genesis, because I had more Super Nintendo than Sega. But I did have, I think, a chunk of Sega, but not as much as like my one friend did. And played Road Rash 2 at a friend of the family's house. I went to their house one time and they happened to have it. That's how I discovered that, and I loved that game. Road Rash 2, especially my favorite one. Or laughing till I cried because it was so funny how you wreck in that game. Fly off your bike and beat, or knock guys off their bikes with sticks and chains and stuff and weapons. That game was a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody else played the Road Rash games. But I always loved them.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, they're so fun.
Nope.
Sega Genesis gems, man. That was like some of the best on Sega Genesis. So much fun.
Oddly enough, my party games were like Gauntlet Legends and Mario Kart occasionally, and Super Smash Bros.
Oh yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, I think that about covers that.
Yeah.
Pretty good. A lot of nostalgia. 2014
Steve-
was was really, I mean, man, when we look back on 2014, compared to what we compare in contrast to what we've been looking at, I mean, obviously there's no year that has nothing good that doesn't exist. Like every year has something, but
And in contrast to some of these games are going to be for somebody the same as what we're looking back on as far as 90s games. So like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
I love Borderlands, blah 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 blah, this that whatever. So just our opinions.
Oh sure,
It doesn't mean
I
that the other
doubt that.
person's actually right, but you know.
Hey, Steve, before we get off, what year was Mike Tyson's boxing game?
Oh,
It was a Nintendo game. Yeah, what year did that come out?
Mike Tyson, because it's funny because he was on it originally, then they took him off after the license expired. Because the original Punch Out was an arcade game, then it came to the NES. Let's just do it this way. Punch Out originally titled Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
1987 box video game.
Okay.
Is an adaptation of the Punch Out game from '84. Okay, I see. So it's 3 years after the arcade version, and then they ported it to Nintendo, called it Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Added Mike Tyson's likeness to the box and as a final boss, and which I've to this day I've not beaten. I will do it.
Oh, come on! I know for a fact you've beaten that game.
No, David did many times over. I never have. I've never beaten Mike Tyson. I've beaten everybody else.
I beat the game, and I sucked.
No, I've never. I'm going to though. I still have my original cart. I still play it. I love the game. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna beat Mike Tyson. That's the boring.
It's just a pattern game. Is all it is. Just patterns.
Yes, and that's why it's so fun. That's the cover right there. That's the iconic cover. And it's funny, Mario is the referee. It's like this guy right here, but in the game it's Mario.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Mike Tyson.
Holy Toledo, $70.
What is it? Is this just a cart? What is this?
Shit, I shouldn't have used my T-shirt on it. Gosh darn it.
It's gonna be a rolling joke.
Or
Mike Tyson's Punch Out, used but in great condition. Does not include box and book. So this is just the cart? Is this now? There is a version of it that's like got. I think it was like something like the 5-bolt version of it or something, but that'd be worth more. Like that's high, man. Oh, they really.
Oh, maybe not.
People are wanting that much for them now. And this is just 3. It's not the 5 where it's not like where they're
Well, inflation, Steve.
I know, right? So all right.
Suddenly,
3,
my
right?
junk is worth more.
Like so, the 3 screws, right? If there's a screw here, and if there's a screw here, that's a rare variant. So this variant is like mine, which is standard, and I don't think. And there's even one. Oh, that's another thing. So there's a variant of this. This has old writing on it. You see that? Somebody wrote in pencil on that or pen. So, I'm trying to remember what it was. So the lettering, right? See how it's in orange? The lettering of Fight Tyson Dream Bout, challenge box around the globe. There's another variant of a different color of those letters. I think they're white. They're either white or blue. There's different color than this, and it's a rare variant of it. If the letters are different color or something, that makes it worth more. I have the standard one. I don't have anything special. I just have the game with this original cover, the original standard copy of this game. Look at the tear up here. This is not a freaking. Mine is so much better than this. This is not a $55 game. No, you can take. No, not pay. I would not pay that for that. No, thank you. You don't want to deal with me on this stuff, man, and you will not get your money from me. Oh man, it's classic. Alrighty, fellas.
Well, have a good one.
Y'all too.